Hey everybody, this is CoKo here with a Let's Play of the Confrontation. Rainer Knizia's The Confrontation. So, if you're not familiar with this game, I spontaneously showed it on a previous stream where I played a round of Wingspan. I didn't really feel like playing another. And I was like, well, I should do something with this time. And so I popped this up. And that stream got a number of views. I don't know if it was for Wingspan or if it was for this. But I was curious. And so I took a look. And, you know, unsurprisingly, there's not a lot of streamers active on this game. And so I was like, maybe I'll do one. Now, I've got a Baldur's Gate 3 series going, and I was intending to play tonight, but it's kind of late, and I didn't really want to do like a 2.5 hour session of anything. And so I thought, okay, let's just do like a round or two of this. Show off the game. Maybe people who aren't familiar with it, you know, can watch a little bit and like... This stream will live for a while, and so if anybody looks up the game, maybe they'll find it. Hello, Phoenix Ranger. So this game probably not being made with the current technology stack since it's a bit old. It's hiding my Twitch chat stream overlay, but that's okay because I got my laptop. So I can look over and see the chat. There's probably not really a good way to get it to show the Twitch chat, because I bet you the code of the game is like forcing the game window to be on top of everything else, no matter what. Something old school like that. So it's okay. It happens. Maybe there's something in options. Nah, probably not. So let's get to it. So to discuss a little in more detail, the board game, which was reproduced quite faithfully in this video game adaptation, also had a variant playstyle, or like, we'll just say a variant game. Like everything's pretty much different. The Fellowship is an entirely different set of, not like characters, but like what the character abilities are. And their point value, their strength values, and the cards and everything. It's a very different game. If I were to describe it, like in the classic mode, the original game style, it's all about the Fellowship's ability to band together and sneak Frodo through, and the overwhelming forces of Sauron are trying to just destroy everyone as quickly as possible and get to Frodo. And, you know, whoever of the two is the better at doing that strategy will win. In the variant, it's a bit of the inverse, and it's a fun game version as well. It's a bit more of like the collective might of the Fellowship against the sort of like tricksy like weird abilities of Sauron. So for example, in the variant version, I think it's Gollum, though I don't know what they call it in this game. His ability is that when he's defeated, he like retreats forward or something. So like you kill him, but he doesn't die. He stays on the board and moves. So he's easy to kill, but he doesn't actually die. And so that's a weird mechanic to work with. And I think there's like another character that once like revealed can never move. Like all the Sauron characters have just kind of bizarre abilities. So since last time we played as the Fellowship against Sauron in the classic game, this time we'll do the classic game still, but we'll play as Sauron against the Fellowship. So we'll try and get Frodo. And then we could do the variant some other time. Okay, so the key to Sauron is to try and trap Frodo. It's different from, like, it's not the same as just overpowering him with one-on-one combat. That's not the way you're going to get Frodo. You have to limit Frodo's mobility. Like, for example, Frodo's ability is that he can retreat to the side if he's faced in combat. And so that ability is mitigated if Sauron characters surround Frodo, because then he can't retreat to the side. So you kind of have to find out where Frodo is and surround him. And a good place to do that is the mountains, because you can't go to the side, you can't retreat sideways in the mountains, and also only one character at a time can be in the mountain regions. So Frodo can't have support from, like, Sam or somebody. So that's a good way to get Frodo. And then the rest of it is just about, like, navigating your way through the Fellowship. Like, you're Sauron, you have stronger characters, you just gotta go, like, wipe a bunch of people out and get to Frodo. And you don't want to overreach, because if Frodo gets behind your lines, you're kind of done. Like, it's tough to deal with his mobility if you let him through. So that's the balance to strike. The other thing is this maze here is like kind of this video game's version of Moria. And if you have the Minotaur on top of it, which in the board game would be the Balrog, then anyone trying to travel through there gets instantly killed. So another strategic question for you as Sauron is, do you want to play that strategy, or do you want to make the Fellowship think you're playing that strategy and instead put someone else there and put the Balrog, elsewhere? So, that's part of the fun. So let's go put the Balrog kind of close to there, and we'll see what we want to do. This one labeled the Hunting Pack are like the Warg Riders, I believe. They ignore character text. They're not very strong, so it seems like they might be kind of useless, but not at all. When they says ignore characters text, that includes Frodo's ability to retreat. So they're a great character to, like, wait for Frodo to be in a vulnerable place and then go get him. So I'll keep him in the back. There's the Black Riders, or this flaming horse in the video game version, can travel forward to attack. So I kind of keep him in the back because he can move forward to attack from anywhere pretty much. So it doesn't need to be put forward to start with. The Ice Dragon, which would be like the Nazgul, can attack a single character in any region from anywhere. So it doesn't really matter where they are. They could be in the back in Mordor, but not necessarily. Hill Giant is almost as you'd expect, like, just big and strong and bumbling. So, hopefully it takes out a few guys on the way as he stumbles into something. I usually like having him kind of on the front lines to like put an initial rush of pain. Let's put him on this side. And then Shelob is kind of cool because Shelob returns to this region after winning a battle. So as Sauron, it's actually quite useful to have characters come back, because you don't want Frodo to slip through and your characters have passed him. So if you can if you could do some damage and then bring the characters back to do another volley, then you can go after the Fellowship without worrying too much if Frodo is gonna sneak through. So there's an opportunity to use Shelob as in the front lines, and then again when she comes back. Okay, goblin ambushers are cool, but you don't want them on the front lines necessarily, because once the Fellowship figures out where they are, they can come get them. Sorry, I hit the mic there. Okay. Let's put the pit team in here. The Necromancer is also... Necromancer is Saruman. And Necromancer can choose not to play any cards. Necromancer is a little bit like the Hill Giant, where there's a lot of really squishy Fellowship characters that are weaker than this strength of 4. Meaning if the Necromancer finds them, like and decides not to play cards, that's it, they're gone. The Necromancer, if you get lucky, can like mow down the entire Fellowship. You know, the challenge though is if the Necromancer comes up against like Gandalf, and Necromancers has a tough time dealing with Frodo, of course, and I think Boromir would take him out too. All right, we'll start him in the back. And Sauron is stronger and starts first. So what we're going to do to confuse things up is we're going to start moving from the back, get in position. There's really no rush to get over the mountains for either side. Sauron, you want to fight, you want to attack first, generally speaking. But it still doesn't have to be immediately. It's better to build up a little bit. So I'm going to pair the Necromancer with the Hill Giant, I think, and kind of like come with strength down one flank and kind of force Frodo down the middle and the right as I see it. And if I do that, then I only have a narrower window to try and get him. And ideally, if it works out, then I have the characters that sit there on my side on the left-hand board and just block it off for the rest of the game. And with the Hill Giant and with I'll use the board game names generally. With the Cave Troll and Saruman, it should be doable. And I might move the Balrog into Moria at some point. Okay, so let's bring up the Goblin Ambushers. Now, I don't know if I showed it too much last time, but the base game, the board game, there's a couple optional play styles. And there's like these special ability cards where in the board game, it's your choice whether to use any of them or like 2 of them or maybe even more or something or less. I remember typically playing without them, but the video game kind of just includes the 2 and you don't have a choice as to whether to play without them or not. So, you know, since we have them, we're gonna use them at some point. And there's one that can reveal Fellowship characters in a tile, and another that brings a character back to Mordor if you go too far. So might do that. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know who they've put where. You can't read too much into the movement. So I'll just find that out as I start attacking. Alright, we're in a pretty good setup to start the volley. So, based on where they're at, it might actually be better to force them down this side. So what I'm going to do is bring the Goblin Ambushers up one. So going into the mountains so quickly is risky. It could be Pippin the scout, or it could be Legolas trying to bait the Nazgul, and Legolas instantly kills them. I wouldn't go after him with the Nazgul. I could consider plowing forward with the Black Riders, see who it is. But it's roughly equivalent to just smashing in with the Cave Troll. If it's Boromir, then that's not the best trade for me. But it's not the worst thing either. But I can let them attack. You know, if the Fellowship wants to attack first, that's probably not the best idea on their part. Alright, let's bring Shelob down this side. Kind of like chess, like developing corresponding. Yeah, so he's gonna come on with the scout, see who's there, and then retreat backwards. That's fine. You can know where the Cave Troll is. And this ability that he showed off of Pippin to retreat after attacking is kind of cool because Pippin can retreat backwards, and from most of the regions, there's 2 backward adjacent regions. So Pippin can kind of like move sideways in a sense by attacking and retreating to the other one. And so it's a very useful thing to do, to just move Pippin a lot around the map, getting to know where people are. So you kind of want to like stomp on Pippin before he reveals the location of like everyone. But we have a bigger goal though than stopping Pippin. It's to create a block of our characters here. I wouldn't want to risk Saruman just yet. So what I'm gonna do, yeah, let's bring up the Cave Troll. Yes, alright. So now they know where Saruman is. And that's okay. Actually, you know what? We can use this to an advantage. Question is, who's over here? Like, there's probably Gandalf somewhere over here. So we might want to see who he brings up. Alright, in my opinion, it helps to find out more early with this card. So it does take a turn though, I think. So instead of moving, you reveal characters in one of the regions. But I'm not really in a position where I need to move right now. It's actually more helpful for the Fellowship to start plowing ahead. So let's use this card and let's reveal who was just moved forward. Yeah, so this is good information for us. We got Gandalf back here. And Legolas. Wait, I can move? Oh, I misunderstood that. I thought it took a movement, but it doesn't. That's helpful to know because it means we can't really be punished for taking Pippin out. So I'm going to use Saruman to do that. I mean, Saruman can be taken out by like Boromir or something, but that's a trade that, you know, is okay. Alright, so this is a good progression for us because we're starting to coax the Fellowship towards one half of the map. And that's exactly what we want. So instead of continuing to attack with Saruman, we know where Gandalf is, actually. So Gandalf might be coming now to take down Saruman. So what we could do is move Saruman here and move the Minotaur there. It's not a bad idea. Alright. Yeah, so that's probably Gandalf coming down to deal with Saruman. So we'll let that happen. I mean, we'll sidestep it. And this is okay. So that's Gandalf now trying to establish a beachhead. And we can deal with that. Alright, we don't want to attack Gandalf immediately, though, or at least we don't need to. So we can actually instead force these characters a bit more to the side. So let's throw the Hill Giant at him. It's probably Frodo and Sam. Are you going to reveal Frodo? Yep. So Sam stepped up with some strength and took out the cave troll, which is a pretty good... Well, now somebody got left behind. And we're going to find out who with this. That's probably Frodo back here. Nope. They move Frodo forward. That's fine. Now Sam's on his own, and Sam is weak when he's on his own. So they played the +5 card. They probably wouldn't use magic to get it back. But even if they did, it would be +8 or +7. We just need +8, which would be 5. And this is wonderful for us, because using Boromir to take out a low-strength character, like the Black Riders, benefits us. So Frodo has now already moved down here, and he's already committed to half of the map, but what we got to worry about, which is not the greatest of situations, is the fact that Moria is not defended by the Balrog. So Frodo can sneak through the pass if Gandalf can establish a beachhead. And that's troublesome for us. The best way to defeat Gandalf is the goblins, but I unfortunately moved them over here. So one option I have would be to... Gandalf's probably going to come down and attack. Yeah, I think bringing Shelob in might work for us. So there's Aragorn. So Aragorn can retreat backwards, which seems a little likely move. If he uses magic, he can get to +9. Alright, what we'll do is we'll offer the +9. Alright, so he used the magic to get a draw. I'm okay with that because I'm saving my stronger cards for Gandalf. And I don't have enough time to wait for the cards to all be used and go around before I deal with Gandalf. So that's an acceptable trade-off. So now I think we know where everyone is. We got Legolas over here. We got Frodo with somebody. Pippin's up here, I believe. And Gandalf's here. Who's the one left over? Can't see on the side. Oh yeah, the Merry, who takes out the pit demon. So Merry is probably with Frodo. Oh. Wait, what happened to Gimli? Yeah, Gimli's on the board too. So it's Gimli that's one of these two, not Pippin. Yeah, it might be Gimli who's hanging out, waiting for the goblin ambushers, not knowing that they're right there. And then Merry's probably with Frodo. That's kind of tense for the goblin ambushers. So we have the advantage over Gandalf because we have our magic card and we have our +6. So we might want to, yeah, deal with him now where he has to noble sacrifice. So let's plow the, well, that leaves this region empty. All right, let's plow into Gandalf with a pit demon and force him to retreat. Oh wait, that wasn't Gandalf. That was Merry. Twist. I would not have expected him to be there. You got me good. You got me real good. I needed two strong characters next to each other to get Gandalf. Because he can use one attack to like retreat. Because I'll play my 6 card first, and so he can now counter it. So he's going to sacrifice himself. And I now have to occupy this terrain for sure. Otherwise, Gandalf comes back. Because the Fellowship has a card to bring Gandalf back in this region. So we are in dire straits. Alright, so Merry is over here, fine. Frodo is going to need to find a way through. So this is Gimli for sure, which means our goblin ambushers are in a bad place. So we need to pin Frodo somewhere. Find somewhere convenient to pin Frodo. So Frodo probably wants to come through here and go to there. You'll probably attack here next to try and clear a path for Frodo, which is okay. If you step up with the goblin ambushers, I've got you. So you're probably going to come through with Gimli against the Nazgul and hope to defeat it, in which case Frodo can come in. So I need to do a couple things. I need to be ready for this tile to be empty. What I could do is force Frodo to come over here. It's not a bad idea. But then Gandalf comes back. Huh. It's tricky. Okay, so... Yeah, let's take care of Legolas. That's fine. You can be there. And now let's force Frodo to retreat over here. Alright, and now we got Frodo pinned in the mountains. And so it all comes down to the warg defeating him. So he can't retreat either way because it's the mountains and because of the warg's ability. And we have a magic card. Yeah, the only thing he could do is retreat backwards. And that's okay. Then the goblin ambushers finish him off. Alright, we got him. So, I'm sure he's going to retreat, but just in case he plays a strength card, he'll be at 4. We can be at 5. He doesn't have magic to bring another card back. So really, the only thing he can do is retreat, which is probably what he's going to do. Yeah. And the only place he can go is where he came from. And now he has a turn to bring Gandalf back, which is fine. We don't care. That doesn't help him in the slightest. And now Frodo's gone. Bye-bye, Frodo. Taken down by goblins. Yeah, that was good. They like the Merry thing messed me up, but it's hard to sneak Frodo through the mountains. Like it's a natural point, a natural choke point. So it's a good opportunity to trap him. And the hard thing about maneuvering Frodo along is that even if you have a numbers advantage against Sauron, if just like one or two opposing characters are in a position to cut Frodo off and isolate him, then the rest of the Fellowship are not helping. And then that's it for Frodo. And it typically happens in the mountains. If Frodo can get past the mountains, it becomes that much harder to stop him. And so, like, you can still win if you get him past, if Frodo gets past the mountains, but it's harder. So, like, making sure that he doesn't get through the mountains is a better path to victory against him. Thank you, thank you. Alright, so we showed off the classic game with both sides. I feel like we could do the variant, but everything is so different, it'll be a bit confusing, because like all this kind of strategy I've been talking about will be lost. So maybe the best thing to do is for me to just play as Frodo again. And we can use what we talked about just from the other perspective. Right? We want to get Frodo past the mountain safely. We don't want to allow Frodo to get surrounded by enemy characters. All those things we can now use on our side. So some of the initial positions, like a lot of this strategy results in some similarities to playstyle, and especially if you're playing against a computer, like you don't need to mix things up as much. I think part of the board game's intent was to be sort of like poker in that if you play against a friend many times, maybe they start to know your patterns and position characters and maneuver with this like game theory approach, and then you can react to that. And that could be fun, I think, to like play so much with someone that maybe you like screw with them and start Frodo like up top or something. I don't know. They'll never expect it kind of thing. But like unfortunately against like the computer controlled player, that really doesn't work. So you kind of stick to the basics. So, you know, Frodo in the Shire. I do, though, I mean, even if it's against a human control player, I remember one time playing against a friend and trying literally that. Like, oh, I'm going to go start Frodo over here where Pippin normally starts. And, like, you'll never expect that. You'll think it's just Pippin. And you'll leave him alone. And, like, Frodo died in, like, the first fight. And that was the end of the game. And I was like, okay, well, that didn't work. Okay. Now, last time I also had Legolas. I like leaving Legolas behind in the Shire to deal with the Nazgul, because it's quite tempting to fly the Nazgul to the Shire if somebody's left alone there. So I feel like Legolas being back there is a good one. But we could also do it with Boromir. We could leave Boromir back there to deal with anyone. But Boromir's too useful to plow into, like, the cave troll or something. We can start both back there and then see how it goes. The tricky bit with the Fellowship specialty characters is like they all have like one use. So like Merry instantly takes out the Witch King. So, you know, to use Merry most effectively, you want to identify where the Witch King is and then make your way there with Merry. But the same is true for Gimli with the orcs. And the same, and Boromir as, like, you know, you want to plow him into someone strong. So in order to have most of the map available to you, you want to start these characters in the back, so that once you find out where these particular Sauron characters are, you can then navigate and have the full freedom. You don't want to be on the other side of the map and not be able to reach them. But there's too many of them to really make that work. So like if I put Mary back here, now Sam's got to go somewhere else. And that's what I'm going to do, because it's not the worst thing in the world. We'll put Sam over here, because Frodo can just take a step up, and then he's with Sam. We'll start the scout over here. And we'll put Gandalf next to Frodo. And Aragorn actually on the side. And Gimli in the middle. Alright, so we will use the scout to find out if that's the Balrog or not. But I want to take a turn or two before I do that. Let's move Boromir up. And let's move... Let's move Boromir up again. And let's move Frodo. And we'll move Merry in a second. Now let's use the scouts. So this is another use of the wargs. The hunting pack is if the scouts are going to do what I just did, you negate the scout's ability to retreat. So it's a good way to take out the scout quickly. But I don't know, I don't know if it's really that valuable, because the scout's not exactly a priority character. So anyway, I could still defeat them with the scout, because you can do some game theory stuff here. So in order to ensure a strength victory, he's got to play a strength card, 4, 5, 6, something there. And I could use Noble Sacrifice and take him out. I got Gandalf in position, though. No, he's still one step back, but he could get in position, because Gandalf could deal with these guys quite easily. We'll retreat, because also Gimli can. Alright, so he's going to smash him into Boromir. Which I was worried about, but I didn't think he'd use Traitor as Spy that quickly. So it's effectively the same exact fight as with Pippin as the scout. Because this is a rare occasion where there's a lower strength character against the warg, who are pretty low for Sauron's forces. So he can easily outstrength me. I might try essentially what I did with Pippin, which is to use the card version of the ability. Alright, that was an interesting roundabout. Boromir for the warg. If I had known that was going to happen, I probably would have traded Pippin for the warg. But it's fine. Let's bring Mary up. The advantage now is we can use Pippin to check who's where. Yeah, so this is a good tactic, is like you have somebody else pretend to be the Balrog first, and then you bring the Balrog up once they do whatever they're going to do. So chances are the Balrog's not going to continue attacking. They're going to bring the other characters around. We could take out the Balrog with Gandalf. But you know, Gandalf famously was taken out, temporarily at least, by the Balrog. Though the Balrog is also a Maiar, like Gandalf, so neither of them were actually taken out. They're both immortal beings. Alright, how do we want to play this now? We got a path with Frodo this way that we can leverage. While we still have options, I'm going to move Sam up first. If he comes... Alright, he's moving the Balrog up. I don't really care about Pippin. I don't really want to use magic yet. So if he uses 3, that's 8. I can't reach 8. If I don't take him out now, though, he can continue going forward, but Frodo can easily avoid him. That's no problem. But there's the other victory condition of 3 Sauron characters in the Shire, and if he gets an early one in there, that can be a bit sticky. But I think I might actually let him go forward. So he fully anticipated me doing exactly that. So this is where he'll play his +3 card, and I can play the +5. Or he plays +6 to make it a sure thing. Okay, so he made it a sure thing. We can always take him out with a noble sacrifice. But we could also... Haha. So he's going to have to use magic. Because with 4, we get 9. Or 8. So he might use magic, or he takes the... I didn't want to use magic on this one, but if he does, I have to too. Oh, I didn't really think that part through. Otherwise, it was a waste of a move. I could have let anybody do this. Okay. I wanted to bait the magic out of him, but I didn't want to use magic myself at the same time. Oh well. Alright, Aragorn's gonna sit with Frodo for a bit. This Balrog is taking everybody out. Yeah, we probably should have stopped the Balrog earlier when we were given the chance. I thought I had a good idea. It may not have been. Okay, we're limited on options because of how few characters we have to control. So we need to move Gandalf safely here and then have him go do some damage. Perfect. Now, we might get lucky in that the orcs are not there to take out Gandalf, because that would be nice. That's probably them. Oh, it's them. Alright, now we got our cards back though, That was partly the point there. Sweet. Alright, who's coming after Aragorn? What are you gonna do? That was not your best choice, because I can bring back Gandalf. Alright, let's try and like think about who's where now. We're at that point. Alright, we got the Balrog in the Shire. That's a good place for a Balrog to be. We got Shiloh, Pit Demon, Cave Troll, and Nazgul. And I have no information about any of them other than like guesswork. So my options are to bring Frodo across with Gandalf. He has a retreat backwards, which is helpful if things go wrong. But Gandalf is good protection. Gandalf can deal with any of these. So I think my best option is to hope Gandalf can get the job done, and then Frodo's, you know, through. So let's do it. Okay, come on Gandalf. Who is it, and can you take care of him? Gandalf can take care of the Pit Demon. Gandalf doesn't even need to defeat the Pit Demon. Gandalf just needs to take himself out with the Pit Demon. Yeah, that's probably the best choice. I mean, we could defeat him. I guess we can't. It's got to be a sacrifice play. Yeah, that's fine. That's it. We won. I mean, the Nazgul can attack Frodo, but they can't pin him down. Yeah, go ahead and attack Frodo. What do I care? And we won. So that was a very different victory from other ones. You know, the Balrog came through and immediately ravaged the entire Fellowship. But they didn't compound that with taking care of the things that you need to get at Frodo. And, you know, one key thing is leaving an opportunity to abandon that region where Gandalf can be resurrected. That was one. And I was planning for that. Like, I had everybody ready. Gandalf got taken out by the orcs, but Aragorn versus the orcs benefits Aragorn hugely, because the orcs are one of the few Sauron characters who have a strength value lower than many of the Fellowship characters, which means the Sauron is at a huge disadvantage because of the fact that the Fellowship characters can use their card to ignore the strength card that the Sauron would play. And when you take that option away from Sauron, they don't have any great options left. There's just not as many situations where you can use that, because most Sauron characters have a higher strength than most Fellowship characters. So that was a good way to reclaim that region and bring Gandalf back. And then when Gandalf was back, Frodo could just use his protection to get through. And once he's through, it's hard to pin him down, especially if they move too far forward. So That was a good victory. All right, what time is it? It's kind of late. My whole goal doing this stream instead of Baldur's Gate, which I'm excited to get back to, was because I don't have the time to like play for 3 hours, and so I probably shouldn't keep playing because it's already kind of late. I'm tempted maybe just to like do a variant, one of the variants, and like maybe it won't take long. Maybe I'll just lose really quickly because it's been a while since I've played with those rules. So let's just show it. It might not take that long. And then I never really played all that much anyway. Okay, so I'm the Sauron side. So all of the characters, some of the characters are different characters entirely, like even in the board game version. Some of them are the same, but they have totally different like ability. And I kind of forget who corresponds to who in the board game version because I didn't play the variant as much. So I'm not as well versed in it. So let's go through. So we got a Doombringer character who has a ability where we win immediately if they enter the Shire. So that's like a kind of new victory condition, new strategic element. Like if that, like kind of like basically I was saying that the variant game is almost an inverse of the classic game. And so this is like Frodo for Sauron. You know, if this character goes to the other side, that's it. So now the Fellowship is forced to keep an eye out for this character and stop them. But it's not the only victory condition, because like the other rules still apply. Frodo is still carrying the ring, and Sauron can still kill Frodo to win, or get 3 characters in the Shire. So, and then there's a Skin Changer who gains +3 when attacking. So kind of like a character that has an advantage to attack, but not to defense. Shadow Master can replace any card with +4, which is a cool ability because typically what you're weighing with the card choice is strength versus a text card, and you're hedging and this hedges your bet. So like oftentimes you might use magic when you can't be sure which option to take. But here's another way to deal with that dilemma, which is to like always have a character that can do +4. I think +4 has to still be available to you though, if I remember correctly. Okay, Rampaging Orcs is kind of like the Black Riders, but they only can move multiple spaces for non-attack movements. It's a little bit of a variant. This is the one I was mentioning. I think it's Gollum in the base game, in the board game version, but can retreat backwards into an empty region when defeated. So this character is fascinating because like you could just constantly lose and like bleed cards away from the other side strategically. Like no consequence, just bleed cards out, and then once you have the cards out of their hands that you didn't want them to have, then you go do some other combat. So this one they call Ancient Worm. I forget what it was in the base game. Maybe it was the Watcher, I don't know, in the board game. But once it's revealed it can't move. I noticed that there's a bug in this game with like dealing with this ability. I've run into it several times. Alright, Chimera can fly over a single region to attack. A Troll Sapper auto-defeats the Dwarven Siege crew. So it's another one of these like characters that has a specific use in mind. The Dwarven Siege Crew is a pretty fascinating thing that they have, the Fellowship has in the variant game, which is the Dwarven Siege Crew, if adjacent to a character that's in combat, can join the combat effectively to add strength to the character. And so you can put the Dwarven Siege Crew in like a central location and just enhance the combat for like a lot of characters around. And the Fellowship characters can be like near unstoppable in terms of strength when you do all that. So this is the Sauron's response to that. Oh, okay. I had combined two abilities in my mind. So this character, this one I think might be Gollum, can retreat forward when attacking. So it could just like, kind of like Pippin, act as a scout. But instead of retreating backwards, retreat further into enemy lines. This is weird. So yeah, I don't totally know like how to best strategize this, but let's plan for bringing the Doombreaker up and see if we can win that way. And then the two cards involved are Forced March, where we gain a free forward movement that's non-attack, and Binding Curse. Keep an enemy character revealed for the rest of the game. That's a good idea. I feel like you reveal a character during combat that you want to follow their progress. Alright, let's start organizing some things. So let's bring the Chimera up. Alright, so they have this character who is a +2 strength in that region. So we can actually replace it with +4 if they don't use a strength card. So if they don't use a strength card, they're going to use they're going to use the one that ignores our strength card for sure. So really there's no value to replacing anything, so we'll just retreat. Now that's like kind of the point of this unit, is to get control over this territory, because he'll always be +2 in this territory. So it's hard to get him out of there. But yeah, we have no choice. It's kind of neat because now like the option is posed to me of like, do I want to just avoid that region? Because he's always +2, so he starts off with strength 6 in there. Now we can even the odds with this Skin Changer's attack. Probably a good idea to do that now. Well, he's not gonna leave that region though, so we got time to deal with this. Alright, so he played his card to retreat. So that's one of his cards used. And he's going to re-attack. That's a neat move. So he's got +5 to take him to 11. +3 to take him to 9. So he'll probably do +5, which is good for me. Alright. We got him to use magic too, which was part of the goal there. So with magic off the board, we have an advantage to our combat now. So here is where we use the Chimera. You switch with the Spear Maiden. Well, Spear Maiden can't retreat sideways because you're in the mountains now. So what could possibly go wrong here? Can't use magic. +3 is 6. So they got to be using retreat, which is odd because they chose to substitute the character. So this is the best use for me. Oh, they game theoried me. This is what I was complaining about last time, where it's like, you know, it's a 50-50 shot. They were either going to play a strength card and beat my strength card because I played something else, or they weren't, and I was going to win. But they did play a strength card. And I'm like, how nobody has any more information than the other side. I don't know why I did +5. I didn't need to go that hard. I was a little too aggressive there. Oh yeah, duh. That was a very good situation for that card. I should have been thinking about that. This is the problem when it's too late. So it's interesting how much more cautious the Fellowship is in the variant because of the Dewbringer character. So let's take advantage of that and start getting the Dewbringer. Alright, so I planned it out so we could have one fight where we lose. Perfect. I forgot that I still needed to take one turn to bleed out the last card. I had planned it out so well, and I forgot. Oops. The whole point of that maneuver was to attack him with fresh cards, at which point the advantage was all on me. Oh boy. Now what? How do I get Doombringer through? Alright, I gotta start bleeding cards by losing battles. That would have been a lot better if this guy wasn't around. There you go. Yeah, go attack him. So now you got +5, which will take you to 8. Alright, all your strength cards are gone. And you're over there. Now we do the forced march. Take you there. Oh wait, do you have to do an attack after the forced march? You do. Does it have to be that character? It doesn't. Okay. So if you use magic to bring your 5 back, you get 9. Which is pretty good. That didn't work. Uh-oh. Uh-oh! Oh no. Hey, where'd my character go? Oh, it had to be an empty region. Right. We're doomed. Completely doomed. Yeah, this is a situation where if it's chests, you just resign. Well, let's effectively do that. Anyway. So, the Crown Champion is the Frodo of this this variant, but things change in this. When Frodo is defeated, he can pass the ring to Sam in the variant, who I'm guessing, or was it the other way around? Yeah, the Crown Champion has been defeated. Alright, so there is no Sam. Yeah, so he snuck by us. Yeah, well, that was inevitable. And I think we lose now because we can't move anymore after this. Yeah. So, that was pretty rough, but I kind of expected it because the variant game I'm not as familiar with, and so a lot of like what to think through wasn't on my mind, and I just stumbled through a lot of bad decisions. But the goal there was to show off the variant a little bit, and that's all fine. And it didn't take all that long, which is good. So next time I play this, I can show off more of the variant and get to know it better. And maybe we'll have some victories. But for now, I think that's it for the stream, and it's bedtime for me. So, Yeah, as far as like the game itself, I like the fact that there exists a variant which, using the same board, the same cards, and to some degree the same characters, at the very least like the same theme for the world, can produce such a different play style and set of strategic decisions. So it's effectively, you know, two games in one. And I have the board game, or at least I used to. I don't have it anymore. But the rule book had another version of the game, which I guess it was just like, might as well throw it in there just to see what people do with it, which was build your own game. So it said if you wanted to, you could combine whatever characters from classic and variant to form your side and play against an opponent who's doing exactly the same thing. Maybe you had to like announce in advance which characters you're using. I forget exactly how it suggested that you go about that. But that just seems like crazy town. Like I don't even know how that would end up working. But just the fact that the variant can create an entirely different game is cool. So like, you know, if you're the Fellowship in Classic, you have several strategic options towards victory that can either be started with or developed as you play. Same for Sauron in the Classic. And then in the variant, you have an entirely different set of strategic considerations for both sides. At a like a character by character level, but also at a grand strategy level. And then, you know, if you wanted to mix it up even further, I imagine it would be quite chaotic with like how to go about it. I kind of figured you'd probably have to make it so that you tell your opponent which characters you're including, so that they have the option to do something like choose the corresponding character that is strong against them if they wanted to. And that seems to make intuitive sense. But then that would be quite like fascinating, because you've got like the orcs at play, which instant kill on attack, and then Gimli's in the mix to go against them. But next to them, you might have like the dwarven siege crew or something. You know, a different complementary piece than what normally comes with that strategic choice. And like if the Doombringer's at play, like for example, like if you have the Doombringer at play, but everything else is the same as the classic version, then strategically the Fellowship still has to sit back and protect the Shire against the Doombringer, because that would be a way for them to win. So like just the classic version is changed strategically dramatically by the inclusion of one character from the variant game. So that could be an interesting thing to see. The video game version does not support this mix and match play style, and I don't fault it for doing it either. Like it gave us both a classic and variant. That's great. Like to do more than that is asking a lot. And the game's quite old, and I don't think it's, you know, under any regular maintenance for like a decade at this point. So, you know, what we have is what we have, and it's good stuff. More next time. See ya.